TYT Sports, everybody, joined by Jeremy Rucker and Ben Mankiewicz. So the the NBA playoffs are underway. We're far from the NFL playoffs, but I do want to start off with one quick tidbit. Ben, you are a DC born and raised, and it is good to be from Washington, D.C. I know you don't follow all these teams, with the Capitals tied the series with the Islanders in the NHL playoffs.
Nobody cares.
Escobar hit a walk-off home run for the Nationals.
There's 20,000 hockey fans in D.C., and 18,000 of them go to the game. They just alternate 2,000.
I've always felt that exactly for every other hockey fan base, but it's worth mentioning because it's not the only thing that's going on in the NBA playoffs. But on top of that, the Wizards. 2-0 series lead. Obviously, they're putting, hopefully, an end to the We the North bullshit. I'm not going to be swayed by our commenters on the whole idea that, like, oh, you guys hate the Raptors for no reason. No, I hate the Raptors.
I think Chris and I did the cities to win the. I think Toronto won the NBA Championship.
Yeah, because you love Toronto.
It's a great place. Great place.
Yeah, no, it's good. They have great film festival there. They have great concerts up there. They have great nightlife. But I just don't like the Raptors.
That's fine. I like the Maple Leafs. It's great. The Wizards have played exceptionally well, and they were down early in Game 2, and then they really took that game. That game was not a game after about 4 minutes into the third quarter. The Raptors cut it to 2, and then the Wiz just dominated. They scored, I think, 10 or 12 straight points, and led by 22, and it was never a contest really in the fourth quarter. And you saw what John Wall can do. He played pretty poorly in Game 1, and they won, and I thought that was really sort of exceptional. And Wall was dominant there in Game 2, and Bradley Beal shot the ball well. But they hit a lot of shots, man. Like, there was a lot
in Toronto.
But there was Drew Gooden was draining open threes, and Otto Porter.
What year is this?
Catch and release, like, instantly, and everything was going down when they built that lead. It won't be like that in Game 3. But I think that the Raptors, with either no Kyle Lowry or an ineffective Kyle Lowry, as he's now hurt, and he was ineffective in Games 1 and 2, you're as a fan, and you're up 2-0 with 2 road wins. All you see is like how monumental is this collapse going to be? But if Kyle Lowry is not on his game, the Raptors can't win that series, and the Wizards will advance. And until the Hawks win a series against a pretty good team, I'm still going to think we might beat the Hawks.
All right, so that's 3 times that you called them the Wizards and not the Bullets. I've never heard that before on TYT Sports, at least in my time here. But yes, you are right. Jeremy, I'm going to throw to you because Scotty Brooks was also fired as of this morning, which we're shooting this on Wednesday.
What a great job to get.
And he had the best winning percentage of any coach to be to never win a championship. Minimum 500 games coach. So Scott Brooks, 2009-2015, 620 winning percentage. Beat out Mike Brown, Van Gundy, Jerry Sloan, George Karl. Jeremy, we talked a lot about Scotty Brooks this year and why we felt that he wasn't the right coach for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we thought he was going to be fired. It happens. What do you think's next for him?
Well, I mean, the thing about Scotty Brooks that we now don't really acknowledge, especially after all the injuries they've suffered this year and they didn't make the playoffs, clearly, he was a good coach. I mean, he got that team, he got the pieces together. He was able to fit Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook, 3 immense talents that honestly would be difficult to put in the same floor at the same time effectively, and he did that. He helped Ibaka mature. He helped whoever their center was when they got to the finals. Perkins. Was it Perkins? Yeah.
Before he was traveling 9 steps at a time.
Exactly. Even Perkins played well. What Scotty Brooks did in the first 2-3 years with Durant and Westbrook after they moved from Seattle was impressive. At the end of the day, all fans have a limit of how much team is not going to succeed in the playoffs. The general management has that same limit. At the end of the day, even though his record is impressive, if you're not winning championships when you have the talent you have, people, you keep saying their window is closing. Even if that's not necessarily true, you're thinking that. It's in the back of your mind. So making a change like this is not uncommon. It's not out of the blue. Is it fair? Maybe not. I think Scott Brooks would be a great coach. We talked about maybe he'll go to Orlando after this year where there's a bunch of young talent that he can craft into something well. I agree. And so I wouldn't take it personally if I was Scott Brooks. I don't think he is. But it's just one of those things when you have a semi-dominant team over the course of a year and you just don't get to go to that next step. Maybe what we'll see with Doc Rivers if the Clippers can't make it out of the first round. Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, so I mean, I think I've always thought the Magic and Scott Brooks, at least over the last, I shouldn't say always, over the last 3 weeks, I'm going, if he's fired, Oladipo, Elfrid Payton, I mean, these are guys that can become amazing talents in the NBA. They still have a lot of work to be done.
There's a lot of criticism of Scott Brooks that I don't fully understand, but I'm not saying it's wrong because basketball minds I respect roll their eyes at him. Like, this guy was overmatched, has no business coaching. And the 620 winning percentage would be the counter to that argument. The flip side is you got a 620 winning percentage, you had Kevin Durant
and Russell Westbrook.
I could win 60% of the games.
As coach?
I'd be like, Kevin and Russell, work it out. You guys are going to play 38 minutes each. I'm good. I'm going to sit right here. I mean, that you know.
LeBron would love to work with you.
So I'm torn. It'd be interesting to see how he does elsewhere. But I mean, in general, in sports, we are far too critical of the people who don't win championships. Sometimes it might be justified. George Karl, to me, it's clearly unjustified. Right. It's a sensational coach who happened never to win. Marv Levy, clearly a sensational coach who happened never to win in the NFL. Jerry Sloan, sensational coach, happened never to win. Nobody would argue with that. And Phil Jackson's not some genius. He had Michael Jordan 6 times, and he had Kobe, and he had Shaq. You know, I think he's great. I think he may probably won more than other people would have won, but we don't. You know, the talent matters. So I'm interested to where Scott Brooks goes. But what's really interesting is who takes that job, because that is a job, at least next season, when Durant is definitely still there. He may leave the following season, but that's a job built for immediate success.
And that's why I don't think Billy Donovan or Kevin Ollie, a college coach, to come into that kind of system is the right call, unless you have your sights on, no, we know Durant and Westbrook are gone. You play with these guys for a year, learn what you can at the NBA level, get your draft picks, trade for some draft picks, and you rebuild from the bottom up.
Right. I mean, that vacancy might not be as ideal as people may think, because in 2 years, both those guys might be gone. We don't know anything yet, obviously, it's all speculation, but Westbrook could leave, Durant could leave. We haven't seen Durant play meaningful minutes in the NBA in over a year now. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of talent on that team. Westbrook's amazing, Durant's also amazing, but there's a lot of uncertainty, especially after next year, for a coach that may come into the situation. There's a lot of questions to be answered.
If I'm Kevin Ollie or Billy Donovan, we know Billy Donovan, we've read that he's ready to leave. Kevin Ollie, a long track record of Kevin Ollie seems like a guy coaching the NBA. I mean, he spent a lot.
I think he said he has a strong interest in.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like backup marginal point guards who somehow managed to spend 10 years in the league. Those are the guys who ought to be coaching. But he has a great gig, and and he's wildly popular in stores, and so I don't know, but I would, regardless of whether those guys leave, and I bet they don't, because you got to remember that salary cap is still designed to be able to keep those guys. I bet one of them stays at least, and if one of them stays, you can still be effective and build around the one. But I'd take that job in a heartbeat.
Rondo, barely played. I think he played 43 seconds yesterday with Dallas Mavericks. He obviously wants out, and he's not going to be there by the end of this season. Real quick, where's he going?
By next season.
Next season, I should say.
Probably not going to get cut during the
2015.
playoffs.
Yeah, we're just going to let Rondo go. I know Jeremy knows where you want him to go.
But not Los Angeles?
Not Los Angeles.
No, absolutely not.
Why? Are you a Laker fan?
I'm a big Lakers fan, yeah. Thanks, Ben. Moving on. So obviously Rondo, there was the big spat he had with Carlisle earlier this year where they kind of went at it verbally on the sidelines, and I guess he was heard saying, "Why did you bring me here?" Because now, if he didn't leave Boston, if he played in a mediocre Boston team, probably had better stats, and he hit the free agency market at the end of the summer, he's going to have a lot higher asking price than he is now. He's not playing for his team. He has coach issues. He's averaging under 10 points and 8 assists per game. He doesn't have the value he once had. So I'm not sure who's going to want him, let him know where he wants to go. It's really been a quick turnaround for Rondo.
I think he'll do fine, and I think he'll get paid the max.
Oh, well, he'll get paid a lot of money, clearly.
I think he'll get paid the max. I think somebody will clear out and decide to take a chance. You can't, it seems to me that Rick Carlisle's mistake, and it may not have been a choice given the nature of that team with a Nowitzki-driven team and a serious guy who needs the ball in Monte Ellis, that was the wrong fit for him. But, I was listening to Shaq last night, and I think he's right, and I think it seems obvious. Don't overcoach Rondo. Let him play. And I suspect there'll be an organization that's willing to pay him a lot of money and let him play, assuming that all the medicals check out and you can believe he's healthy on a 5-year deal for whatever the max ends up being. And I think that team, my guess is if the coach lets him go, they're going to be pretty pleased.
Yeah. All right. Leave your thoughts on everything NBA playoff related in the comments section below. We know we touched on a lot of topics: Wizards, Raptors, Rondo.
How about Paul Pierce, real quick, saying that in a tweet that he wants the Wizards to sweep because he doesn't want to go back through customs.
Final thought. Hated Paul Pierce every single year on Boston.
So
hated him.
Until he got old. Then I didn't.
Then when he got old, I now totally admire the guy. I've always respected his play, objectively speaking. Fantastic NBA player, surefire Hall of Famer.
If this is the ground, that's how high Paul Pierce gets up off the ground.
That's higher than me.
I know, but it's still, but he gets it done. What's amazing now is watching is the rebounding. And I don't know how much all this stuff really matters, all the stuff about veteran presence. I'm not a big believer in chemistry, all these things that they...
His veteran presence, though.
I don't know. Mostly what happened to the Wizards is Bradley Beal and John Wall grew up. Let's not kid ourselves that suddenly Paul Pierce wasn't there last year, and they beat the Bulls in 5 and took it to the Pacers, at least at the beginning of that series. That said, it's a great storyline that he told Otto Porter to man up, and that he told John Wall and Bradley Beal to take this seriously and how to get to the free throw line. And it's a great storyline. I don't know if it's true, but it's a great story.
Well, I mean, he clearly has an advantage in the cojones column of the box score. But I mean, actually, in all seriousness, it might be a net loss between him and Trevor Ariza, who they let go last year. I mean,
It might be. That's right.
So we'll see to find out. It's a long NBA playoffs. Can his lack of defense and his lack of athleticism?
Because Ariza can play D.
He can play some great D. He's an athletic guy.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
All right, Ben, it's been a while. Sign off for us here on TYT Sports.
Is that what this is? TYT
Yeah.
Sports? TYT Sports, guys, thanks for watching.